Well, that's a wrap for day 2 of the Bitcoin Miami conference here in Miami. Unfortunately, I didn't go today because I feel absolutely dreadful. Woke up with a really bad headache and cold sweats. So yeah, feeling pretty crook today, but I managed to lie on the couch and watch all of the live streams and just some really interesting and exciting stuff that really came out of today. And probably the biggest takeaway for me was the Lightning Network and Jack Mallers' announcement this afternoon. Unfortunately, it wasn't a partnership with Apple, but it was a partnership with a lot of other great companies. And really what Jack's talking about is the Lightning Network being this payment network on Bitcoin that can settle payments instantly with no fees anywhere in the world. And he's going to be able to take over the likes of Visa and MasterCard and take out that intermediary for payments. So one of the key things he was speaking about with the partnership they've now made with Shopify, as well as one of the biggest point of sales systems in the US, which services the likes of McDonald's, Chipotle, and a few other the biggest companies here in the US, is that you're going to be able to settle payments on that Bitcoin layer on the network. So let's say you're sending, sats or, Bitcoin, whatever on the Lightning Network to the merchant. The merchant can then decide whether they keep their Bitcoin or their sats, or they can convert it into fiat currency. What that is going to allow us to do is to use the Bitcoin payment network for any payments. So we can use basically anything, move anything and everything onto the Bitcoin network to settle transactions with no intermediary, no fees, and instantaneous. And it's really taking out the need for Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, and the banks to have to settle these payments. So I think we're going to see more and more of these merchants wake up and realize that they can use the Bitcoin payment network system and receive their money straight away without needing to pay any fees, which is absolutely huge. And the partnership with Shopify, which has God knows how many stores on it, as well as McDonald's, Chipotle, and some of these biggest US companies. Right now in the US, you can go over in McDonald's and now pay with the Lightning Network. Like, this is huge adoption. We also saw Cash App today announce that you can now earn your wage through the Cash App. And they also have a rounding up feature. So in the Cash App, which the Cash App isn't pretty big in Australia, but it is in the US and internationally. I think you have over 38 million accounts. They are now allowing you to take your wage in Bitcoin, and also the rounding up feature. So if you buy a coffee for $4.50, you can use the additional 50 cents to top up to $5 to invest in a Bitcoin directly in the Cash App, which is absolutely huge. We also had Michael Saylor come out. He had the whole crowd pumping. Everyone was up. It's like a party over here in Miami. And, he's just really honing in on how bullish he is for Bitcoin. And, his final words at the end of his speech was, do not sell your Bitcoin. And it's about all of us as the early adopters of Bitcoin to start to teach our dad, our mums, our parents, our brothers, our siblings about Bitcoin, giving them the orange tablet, giving them the orange pill, teaching people about Bitcoin. It's about us allowing people and teaching people about this space. Because as soon as we start to get more and more people questioning and understanding what money is and what Bitcoin is, it's only going to grow the system. It's only going to grow the network. So that was super bullish as well. Another big thing that was drilled in today in the conference was about fiat currency. And really, it was about fiat currency is a fraud. It's a Ponzi scheme. Fiat currency is owned and controlled by very little people, and they get to do whatever the hell they want to do with it. They continue to print more and more money. And this is why Bitcoin is a fixed supply asset will continue to be this hedge against the rising inflation that's happening across the world, and continues to be an asset and maybe the world currency reserve one day, because it is a trustless, permissionless software. We don't need to trust anyone to do the right or wrong thing like we trust governments to print more and more money. It is trustless and permissionless. It's code, it's software. There's 21 million Bitcoin ever made, and the supply decreases every 4 years. We know what it is. It's the most powerful network and software in the world. And more people are waking up to it. The other thing as well that was really evident today with the rising inflation rates is that we are heading into potentially hyperinflation, and we're waiting on the Fed to be able to try and find a way out of it. But the chance and likelihood of the Fed being able to slow the rising inflation and keep the economy moving is really quite low. And Bitcoin is the only asset class in the world that is continuing to position itself as something that you can actually not only hold your wealth in, but potentially build your wealth during a recession. There's never been an asset class in the world that's allowed you to do that. A big push for Bitcoin right now, and what it's doing already in the last few months with this rising inflation, is that it is a hedge against everything that's going on. And if we go into a recession over the next 6, 12, 18 months, Bitcoin is holding its value. And if Bitcoin continues to hold its value during a declining economy, well, more and more people are going to put money into Bitcoin, because it's the only thing that's actually going to be rising, or at least holding its value in that period. So it's ultra bullish as well. Kathy Woods from ARK Invest, when she was speaking with Michael Saylor today, was really promoting the idea again about government policy and legislation. Just go back 12 18 months, the focus of government and policymakers in the US were really heavily against Bitcoin and digital assets in general, calling it worthless, a scam, and really afraid of it taking over or competing with the US dollar. But now I think with more and more people jumping onto the Bitcoin ecosystem and a lot of politicians starting to actually change their narrative and changing their awareness of digital assets and Bitcoin, seeing it as potentially something that the US can continue to be at the forefront of Bitcoin. There's over 150 million individual account holders of Bitcoin. Like, this is a $2 trillion industry. This stuff isn't going away. They can't just hide it anymore. And now these politicians are waking up and understanding the value it offers. And with policy and legislation allowing people to hold Bitcoin, knowing that it's not going to be taken away from them. That was one of the biggest components that I heard about today for institutions holding Bitcoin. They were scared that the government were going to ban it or take it away. But now this is becoming clearer that that's not going to happen. These huge sovereign wealth entities, these institutions, these huge trillions and trillions of dollars of capital waiting to come into Bitcoin, get exposure, even at a small, 1% level, is going to put absolute rocket fuel into Bitcoin. Remember, Bitcoin is only a $1 trillion asset. These 10, 20, $50 trillion worth of capital, just getting a small exposure to Bitcoin could really put rocket fuel into the Bitcoin ecosystem, which I'm super bullish about. Last but not least, the alpha that I got today and the underutilization of the Lightning Network and payments being settled on the Bitcoin payment network, where you don't need an intermediary, it's settled instantly with no fees, is the next real trend in getting more of these payment gateways onto the Bitcoin network. And with Jack Mellon Strike partnering with these point of sales services, you can now use the Lightning Network at any of these stores, and the merchant can receive dollars if they want. Doesn't matter. It's no different to the merchant, but the merchant's going to get that money instantly with no fees. That's huge. And for the user, you can send your sats, your Bitcoin, whatever you want, settled on the Bitcoin network. The payment network gateways hasn't been updated in over 50 years. This is the same system we were using 50 years ago. So to have this upgrade of this Bitcoin payment network, I think that could really turbocharge the Bitcoin network as well, and continue to bring more people in the space using this new technology as the way for payments in the future. So really bullish again today. Hopefully I can get there tomorrow if I'm feeling better. I'm going to head to bed after this. It's been a great day again of Bitcoin. If you haven't been to this conference, I do recommend it if you're a Bitcoin fan. It's just a non-stop party. It's crazy. Even seeing some of the after parties and stuff that's going on. I think there was like a crypto party last night with Diplo was playing at it. Like, coming from Tassie in Australia, you just don't, see this. My first time in the US, you just don't sort of see this stuff very often. But the energy here, 25,000 people here at this conference, it's just huge. It makes me so excited for the future of Bitcoin and where we're at and how early we are. So well done for all of you that are on this Bitcoin journey, crypto journey together. We are so early. There's so much more money, so much more users coming into the space, which I'm super excited about. We'll leave it there. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe or leave me a comment. I'll be back again tomorrow with another daily update. Thanks and bye for now.